Imagine waking up one day and realizing something unsettling. You're not actually the one in control of your life. The choices you make, the fears that hold you back, the way you react to others, what if none of it was ever truly your decision? According to Carl Jung, deep within each of us exists a hidden force. A force that operates in the shadows, shaping your thoughts, your actions, and even your identity without you ever realizing it. But here's the catch. Just because you ignore it doesn't mean it disappears. In fact, the less you acknowledge it, the more control it has over you. Jung called this force the shadow self. It's the part of you that you suppress, the thoughts you deny, the emotions you pretend don't exist. Jung once said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate." So the real question is, are you truly in control? Or is your shadow self silently pulling the strings? By the end of this video, you'll not only understand what the shadow self is, you'll also learn how to confront it before it consumes you completely. Have you ever reacted to something and later wondered, why did I do that? Maybe you got irrationally angry, felt a sudden wave of jealousy, or sabotaged a good opportunity and couldn't explain why. Carl Jung believed these unconscious reactions come from your shadow self, the hidden part of your mind that holds everything you want. He once said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate." But what does that really mean? The shadow self is made up of all the thoughts, emotions, and desires that society, family, or even you yourself have rejected. As a child, maybe you were told, "Don't be selfish. Nice people don't get angry. You shouldn't want too much." So what did you do? You pushed those feelings down? You pretended they didn't exist? But here's the problem. Ignoring your shadow doesn't make it disappear. It simply buries itself deeper, waiting, until one day it takes over. Your shadow influences your decisions without your awareness. It makes you judge others for traits you secretly see in yourself, causes self-sabotage when success feels uncomfortable. It triggers fears and insecurities that seem to come from nowhere. And worst of all, most people never even realize it's happening. But here's the truth. Your shadow self is not your enemy. It's a part of you. And until you face it, it will continue to control your life from behind the scenes. So, how do you confront your shadow? How do you take back control? The first step is understanding what the shadow self really is. And that's exactly what we're about to uncover. Carl Jung's concept of the shadow self isn't just theory, it's a powerful, hidden force shaping your everyday thoughts, actions, and relationships. Think of your mind like an iceberg. The part above water, that's your conscious mind. It's the version of you that you show to the world. But beneath the surface lies something much bigger, something more powerful. Your shadow self. But where does it come from? From the moment you're born, you're taught what's acceptable and what's not. If you cried too much, you were told to stop being weak. If you got angry, you were scolded. If you spoke your mind, you were called arrogant or selfish. So you suppressed those parts of yourself. You pushed them down. You tried to become who you were supposed to be. That's how your shadow self was formed. But what you suppress doesn't vanish. It just goes underground, into the unconscious. And one day, when you least expect it, it resurfaces and takes control. Ignoring your shadow doesn't make you a better person. It makes you a person ruled by emotions they don't understand. Here's how the shadow controls you without your awareness. Projection. You see your own flaws in others. If you were taught that anger is bad, you may feel uncomfortable around people who express it. If you were taught not to stand out, you may resent confident people. Self-sabotage. You block your own success. Have you ever ruined an opportunity, rejected love, or procrastinated something important even when you wanted to succeed? That's not laziness. That's your shadow keeping you stuck. Uncontrollable emotional reactions. Have you ever snapped over something small? Felt irrational jealousy? Feared failure, even when things were going well? That's not just your personality. It's your shadow taking over. This isn't just psychology. It's been happening for centuries. Socrates was sentenced to death for asking uncomfortable questions, forcing people to confront truths they didn't want to face. Instead of facing their own shadow, they silenced him. Jung believed your shadow reveals itself in your dreams, fears, and relationships, recurring nightmares, unexplained anxiety. These may be messages from your unconscious. Nietzsche warned that suppressing your true nature leads to self-destruction. He called it the will to power, the idea that whatever you deny will eventually explode. Your shadow is not evil, it's just been ignored for too long. And the more you suppress it, the stronger it gets. The more you fear it, the more it controls you. So how do you take back control? Let me tell you a story. Michael was known as the nice guy. Polite, agreeable, always put others first. He avoided conflict, let people take credit, never made a fuss. People admired him, but they didn't see the storm building inside. Michael felt invisible. He saw selfish people succeed while he stayed stuck. But he couldn't admit his resentment because he was taught anger was bad, ambition was arrogance, and standing up for yourself was selfish. So every time he felt frustrated, he buried it. Every time he felt jealous, he denied it. Every time he wanted to speak up, he stayed silent. Until one day, something snapped. His boss unfairly blamed him for a mistake. Normally, he would have nodded and apologized. But this time, he exploded. Why do I always get treated like this? I work harder than anyone, and I'm still the one getting blamed. I'm done. The room went silent. His heart pounded. Even his boss looked shocked. And in that moment, Michael realized this wasn't just about work. It was years of repressed emotions, finally breaking free. This was his shadow self taking over. That night, he couldn't sleep. He kept asking himself, where did that come from? And then it hit him. It had always been there, his anger, his need to be heard. He had spent his entire life suppressing it. Michael's story isn't rare. How many times have you thought, why did I act like that? How many times have you felt anger, irritation, or fear and couldn't explain why? That's your shadow self at work. Until you face it, it will keep controlling you. So, how do you confront it? Now that you understand what the shadow self is, the real question is, how do you take back control? Jung believed the answer lies in shadow work. But here's what most people get wrong. Shadow work isn't about destroying your darkness. It's not about getting rid of anger, fear, or insecurity. It's about understanding, integrating, and transforming your shadow into a source of power. Your shadow is not a demon. It's an untamed part of you that needs your attention. Here are 3 powerful steps to begin shadow work. Step 1. Identify your triggers. Ever disliked someone for no clear reason? Felt annoyed by someone's confidence, ambition, or selfishness? These triggers are clues. Jung believed that our strongest reactions to others often reveal parts of ourselves we've buried. This is called projection. For example, if ambition annoys you, maybe you were taught success is selfish. If laziness bothers you, maybe you were raised to overwork and never rest. If confidence irritates you, maybe you were told to stay quiet. Instead of judging, ask, what does this reaction say about me? Your triggers are mirrors. And until you recognize the pattern, your shadow will keep running the show. Step 2. Practice shadow journaling. Think of your mind like a house. The parts you don't want to deal with, you lock them in the basement. But the more you lock them away, the more they demand to be seen. Shadow journaling unlocks that door. Find a quiet place. Ask yourself, what emotions do I suppress? What am I afraid to admit, even to myself? Then write down your raw, uncensored thoughts. The ones that scare you, the ones that embarrass you. Let them speak. You might discover jealousy, resentment, fear, emotions you've masked for years. Shadow journaling is not about being perfect. It's about being honest. Step 3. Integrate. Don't eliminate. Most people try to fight their shadow. They say, I need to stop being angry, or I have to get rid of my fear. But Jung taught, power doesn't come from rejection, it comes from integration. Your shadow is not your enemy. It's a neglected part of you, like an abandoned child who just wants to be seen. So the next time a strong emotion arises, don't suppress it. Ask yourself, why do I feel this way? What is this trying to teach me? Speak to your shadow. Say, I see you. I accept you. You do not control me. Use its energy as fuel. Anger becomes strength. Insecurity becomes self-awareness. Fear becomes courage. Because the moment you stop fearing your shadow, it loses its power. Shadow work isn't about becoming someone new. It's about becoming whole. You are not just your light. You are also your darkness. And once you embrace that, you'll become free. Carl Jung once said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate." Most people spend their lives stuck repeating mistakes, sabotaging themselves, blaming bad luck. But it's not luck, it's their shadow. Now you have a choice. You can ignore your shadow, let it rule you in silence. Transform it. Because here's the truth. Your shadow is not your enemy. It's your key to self-awareness, confidence, and transformation. So let me ask you, what part of yourself have you been avoiding? What is your shadow trying to tell you? Let me know in the comments. And if you found this video insightful, subscribe for more deep explorations into psychology, philosophy, and the hidden forces shaping your mind. We're just getting started.